We're talking about focus today. And I remember this day very, very clearly. We were probably 3 years into the start, so a year and a half into being in my parents' basement. And the consulting business was still a little bit alive, and we had the largest privately held real estate company in Canada as a customer, the largest real estate broker, a bunch of people in the travel space, all of customers of this consulting business I had. And I had all these ideas for products we could build. Okay, so we were doing FreshBooks, that was out there, and I had all these ideas for these other opportunities. One in particular was a really good product for real estate agents. Anyways, no one had done that right. Still, nobody's done that right. And we were toiling away at FreshBooks. We might have had like 400 customers or something at this point. We're nowhere. And I'm thinking about another opportunity. And I remember looking over to Levi, co-founder, and there he was, sitting across from me in my parents' basement, with a grin on his face, writing software. And in that moment, I said to myself, well, this guy is smarter than me. He's harder working. He's smiling as I'm thinking about stopping doing this and going in a different direction. He must know something I don't know. And so that was the last time I stopped focusing my efforts entirely on FreshBooks. Okay. No other ideas from that point forward. So we kept going, and we're in the basement still. And what started to happen was, again, we weren't really making any money. And people were coming to us. And so this is way before. So cloud is a thing today. We've got Apple's cloud. Like, cloud is a thing. And back then, it was not. And so we had all kinds of people. So we were basically offering online invoicing, accounting software. And we had people calling us up and saying, hey, listen, your service is great and all, but what I really want to do is run it on my own servers. And we'll pay you $10,000 to license your software. So there we are, making no money in my parents' basement, with multiple people coming and saying, listen, I'll pay you a lot more for a different variation of your product, okay, for licensing as opposed to subscription-based in the cloud. So basically, different business model, different offering if we go down that path. And really, it was sort of a fork in the road, not unlike the last thing. It's a fork in your road. Hey, we can go and license software and get good at that, or we can deliver it over the internet. So basically, business model challenge. And we decided to say no, and we stuck with it, and we just kept going for no good reason. There were no signs to suggest we should keep doing what we were doing. But we did. We stayed focused. And so that's 1, 2, 3 slides on focus. All right, here we go. All these stories have a theme. There's like a fork in the road. You know, opportunities are going to come along, and the more success you have, the more opportunities come along. And to be strategic, right, part of strategy is, it really boils down to making choices. And when you make a choice, you're saying no to things, okay? So what have I learned from these all looking back that maybe is not obvious to you? All these stories, things along these lines. And some of you may be running bigger businesses than I am today. So we're only 125 people. We're growing fast. But, you know, when I think about what I've learned especially from that first lesson and staying focused and choosing to just apply myself entirely to FreshBooks, as an entrepreneur, I would see opportunities in other markets. Things that I'd be like, geez, why don't we do that? I can do that better. I had all these ideas. Different ways to deliver our software. All that stuff. And so what I found, as soon as I said no to doing all the other ideas, I kind of think of it as like a horizon of opportunity. As soon as I said no, I'm going to pick one, right? That opened up this trap door that I fell through, tumbled through, down a big rabbit hole that I've been in for 10 years, okay? So instead of going wide and looking at all these opportunities, I can look deep and realize that there is this never-ending list of things to learn. I didn't know anything about product management, product marketing. I didn't know anything about presenting. Still working on that. All right? These are the skills I had to learn once I dropped down that rabbit hole to make the thing happen. And, you know, reflecting back, I think, you know, I found it a lot harder to be in that small 5-person organization than I do now. because it just wasn't busy enough, right? And because it wasn't busy enough, I looked really broad. And so if any of you are looking at whatever you're doing now and thinking, I got to be doing other things and not totally focused, what I'd say to you is get going down that rabbit hole, because it's really, really deep. And you can build a really, really big business if you find your way into that trapdoor. I think persistence and focus will never be overrated.